As the two guests walked away side by side, Lu Haikong let out a soft laugh. In a light yet meaningful tone, he told Long Tianxiang that now that Li Qi had successfully stepped into the core formation stage, perhaps it was time to formally discuss the marriage alliance between their families. Long Tianxiang responded with a faint smile, saying he understood the elder's intention. He added that if he secured first place in this year's grand hunting competition, he would personally marry Lu Haikong's granddaughter. The elder's smile widened, clearly pleased, and he said he would be waiting for that day. From a distance, Zhao Mu immediately recognized the identity of the young man speaking with the elder. Once the two had left, Zhao Mu wasted no time and headed straight for Lu Qi's residence. When he arrived, he knocked and called out to his senior sister. The door opened quickly, and Lu Qi's face lit up the moment she saw him. After stepping inside, Zhao Mu did not beat around the bush. He directly asked whether Long Tianxiang had come to discuss marriage arrangements. Lu Qi's brows furrowed at once, and she coldly told him never to mention that name in front of her again, as she did not wish to hear it. Then she wrapped her arms around his arm and cheerfully asked why he had suddenly come to visit. Scratching his cheek awkwardly, Zhao Mu admitted that because of that woman, he had been blocked from entering the outer sect. Lu Qi's expression darkened with irritation. She declared that she had already reached core formation and, once she stabilized her cultivation, she would challenge that person within a few days. She added that her rapid breakthrough had been largely thanks to Zhao Mu. Overcome with emotion, she hugged him tightly. Zhao Mu was caught off guard and jokingly warned her that if she continued like that, he might not be able to restrain his pure energy. Lu Qi immediately replied that if that was the case, then he should not restrain it at all. Without hesitation, she removed her outer garments and openly stated that she wanted his help in cultivation. Zhao Mu feigned reluctance, but it did not take long before both of them were swept up in the moment and began cultivating together inside the room. Several hours later, Lu Qi fell asleep from exhaustion. Zhao Mu stretched and yawned, puzzled that he seemed to have gained little. Soon, a system notification appeared, informing him that he had successfully harvested pure energy and triggered a 50-fold return, slightly increasing his strength. However, another notice followed, stating that because Lu Qi's energy had been harvested multiple times, the reward multiplier had begun to decrease. Zhao Mu let out a sigh and understood that repeatedly investing in the same person reduced the return. For a brief moment, he considered that if he could cultivate with several senior sisters at once, perhaps the drop rate of his system would increase. The logic was sound, but he decided to put that thought aside for now. He sat down and began cultivating with spirit stones. In his view, strength was the only true rule in this world, and he needed to advance quickly. Before long, the system notified him that he had broken through to the Foundation Establishment 3rd layer, followed shortly by the 4th layer. However, he soon realized that all of his spirit stones had been consumed, and he had not yet reached the 5th layer. At that moment, he understood just how resource-hungry his sacred body truly was. Suddenly, he sensed a strange presence. A shadow seemed to move outside his room. He immediately opened the window to investigate, only to come face to face with Lady Zixuan. Startled, he nearly stepped back as she entered without hesitation. There was a trace of anger in her voice as she told him to address her simply by name. Zhao Mu forced a polite smile and asked what he could do for her and why she had come in person. Lady Zixuan did not answer right away. Her gaze slowly swept over his bare upper body, and she even pointed at his chest. Without pretense, she stated that she also wanted his pure energy to assist her cultivation. Zhao Mu was stunned and instinctively stepped back, cautiously asking if she was joking. He explained that in the later stages, the harvest technique became less efficient and that she might not need his help. At that, anger flashed in Lady Zixuan's eyes, and a blazing purple aura erupted from her body. The overwhelming spiritual pressure bore down on Zhao Mu, nearly forcing him onto the bed. He could not help but wonder what level of power this presence represented. Standing with her hands on her hips, Lady Zixuan coldly ordered him to stop making excuses and simply answer whether he was willing or not. Zhao Mu winced when she stepped on his chest but forced a smile and said that if that was her wish, of course he was willing. Inwardly, he silently vowed that one day he would repay this humiliation. Half joking, he asked what position she preferred for proper harvesting. A faint blush crept onto Lady Zixuan's cheeks and ears, but she did not respond. Instead, she opened a purple portal and told him to stop asking unnecessary questions. In the next instant, they were pulled into the portal and transported to the purple sky cave abode. Zhao Mu briefly admired the surroundings, but Lady Zixuan immediately ordered him to follow her. As they walked, she explained that this was her secluded cultivation site and that no one would disturb them there. Taking her words at face value, Zhao Mu began removing his trousers, only for her to sharply ask what he was doing. He replied that he was cooperating with the harvest process. Her face flushed red as she told him he did not need to undress because she had her own method. Zhao Mu scratched his head and joked that it sounded as though she intended to take the lead, though in his experience, mutual cooperation was more effective. Before he could finish speaking, his mouth was suddenly covered and his body bound to a wooden structure. Lady Zixuan stepped closer and, in a cold yet steady tone, told him to close his eyes and assist with cultivation. She added calmly, but with unmistakable warning, that if he did not comply, it would not end well for him.